Welcome to No Ideas Original Sports. I'm here with Reem and Theo. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Hey, good
Oh,
seeing you
it was
fellas.
good.
Good to be back at it. Good to be back at it. So right now we in the midst of the NBA Finals. I mean, I don't know. Going into this, I thought that Golden State would have won, but after the first game and now, I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I still got the Warriors winning the series, but if they lose game two, they're definitely done in my eyes. This is a must win already. Let's put it that way. You can't lose two games on your home court, and feel comfortable.
Before game one, I had Boston in seven, so I'm sticking to that, man. Boston in seven. I don't know what they have over there, but there's some kind of thing going on in Boston right now. They got it going. They got going on right now. I say so. I got these guys in seven, man. Boston Celtics.
I mean, I listen. I had Golden State, and I'm gonna still go with them. But I think if they lose, I got to put some of this on Steve Kerr because listen, I understand everybody likes to get into this experience and all this other stuff. That game one, nobody was doing anything out there besides Otto Porter and Curry. And you have been riding with Kaminga and Moody and all these Poole and all these guys before that, all the other rounds. Why
Mm-hmm.
not let them get the bulk of the minutes? Now all of a sudden we got a steady dose of Andre Iguodala and Otto Porter. I mean, I don't even think Iguodala played a game in the playoffs prior to the championship.
If he did, I must have missed it. That's how short his minutes were, because I don't think he played.
I mean, I figure you should ride with the guys that got you there. And then Looney was I'm not a big Kevon Looney fan to begin with or something. I mean, I do think eventually if they want to succeed, Wiseman is going to have to succeed, be the successor to him at that position. But
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't doing anything out there, so they might as well have moved Draymond to the five and went small or something.
See, and I agree with that, but that's one of those things. If Horford is playing and Robert Williams, I can't see how because Draymond can't guard them both.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
they need a big out there if Boston is running both of those two together.
Yeah, if there's one of them I could see, I would have to have Draymond on Robert Williams. But realistically, Harvard's not going to get that close to. Well, I can live with him taking those threes. They may try to post him off if they see a smaller guy. I can live with that. Listen, the sun shines on a dog every once in a while.
Uh,
Like
the
I'm
only
not
uh,
I'm
the
not
only
sold
thing
on Al Horford being a 3-point specialist yet.
he was looking like Al Curry, in
Yeah,
that first one,
I
him
mean,
and Derek White. But if those two beat you, I guess the point is for me, if those two beat you, you don't want to lose, obviously. But if you're losing to Al Horford and Derek White, you just got to eat it. If
yeah,
Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown is going off on you, that's a different story. But
yeah,
if you're losing to Derek White, and Horford,
yeah.
I
You
can
losing
think that
player 6 and 7, that's not part of the game plan. You don't think that's
Jalen
going
Brown got off. He did
Yeah,
his
he
thing.
did. He
Tatum
carried
was
them for a
off.
stretch. He carried them for a stretch.
Yeah, he
Uh,
played well.
Didn't we see Al Horford go crazy in Miami, shooting jump
yeah,
shots?
He
yeah,
did. Yeah.
he had
Al
so
always had a jump shot. You guys need to stop it. Both of you guys need to stop
but
it, man.
you can
He
score.
always had a jump shot. So what 3 point line? He always had a jump shot, but when he gets hot, man, he could be a problem.
Yeah,
In
you
his
know what?
first, even his first time in Boston when he came back, I always had a jump shot. He probably gotten better because he step out and make a couple of threes here and there. I'm not saying he gonna sit there and make 4 or 5 threes just like that though, but he can make a occasional three now or a timely three, which he has been
Oh
doing since
no,
the playoff
no, no,
started.
no, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. He could make a timely one, but you know what? If we gonna lose the game because Al Horford hit 7 threes, we gonna lose today. Because I'm not gonna do nothing extra
Yeah.
to
If I
stop
had to
Al
pick
Horford
who
from
I'm
getting
leaving
7 threes.
open, it's gonna be
Yeah,
Al Horford.
like even I
Or
can say the same thing with Golden State. Like nobody anticipated Otto Porter hitting 7 threes or 6 threes or whatever he did either.
Mhm.
So I'm Boston. You know what, Otto Porter, you want to knock down threes? We're gonna lose today too. So
Right.
those two, don't get me wrong. I think Hartford's a better offensive player at this point than Porter, but either one of those guys get hot with threes. Yeah, you got to address them, but that's not part of the game plan at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave Horford wide open.
No,
It ain't to the point
I,
where I'm saying you don't have to guard him.
I wouldn't
You
stop
got to
double
respect
teaming.
him. But if you're
I
gonna
wouldn't.
go down losing, I
Yeah,
wouldn't mind losing to him. But I wouldn't just be out there leaving him open either.
yeah. I would still. Let me tell you,
He's not a
I would
scrub.
still double off of him to try to stop Tatum from going to the basket. I would do that.
Yeah,
Him and Marcus Smart. Him, Robert Williams, and Marcus Smart. You're not gonna leave Jalen Brown or Tatum alone. Listen, the
Right.
first person,
and
I'd probably use Marcus Smart and Robert Williams first.
and Marcus Smart be hitting that
Yeah,
little
he
three
is three
pointer too.
sometimes too. I tell you what, I'm more likely to stay home with Derek White than Marcus Smart.
Boston is a deep team. They're not
Derek
in
White
the
is a
in the
better shooter than
championship for
Marcus
no
Smart.
reason.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they're there for a reason. They're a deep team.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of guys who can step up,
yeah,
and all you need is it just so happened to be Derek White and Horford going off, but usually all they need is one of them to go off because usually
yeah.
Tatum and Brown is getting theirs.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Might not be the most efficient games from those two on a nightly basis, but usually they get theirs. They're 20 plus. All you need is one of those other guys to get off.
well,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I put this on Steve Kerr because not for nothing, I'd have pulled the plug. I'd have pulled the plug on Clay. I'd have pulled the plug on Wiggins. Listen, the one thing about youth is that those guys are just foolish enough not to know what the stage is.
If you if
Kaminga would have put up shots. Moody would have put up shots. These dudes act like they were star. I don't know what they were
if you
doing.
think about it, Wiggins kind of did his job because he was guarding Tatum and he
Yeah,
scored a
yeah,
decent
he did.
amount. So Wiggins did his job.
Thompson, I don't know. Yeah, Thompson, he wasn't there. Looney, I mean, and then the minutes, like I played. I don't know. I don't understand playing Iguodala heavy minutes
Right.
over
Yeah.
Jordan
That,
Poole.
that was crazy too.
Jordan
Yeah,
Poole, he kind of he needed to step up a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
again, it could be like you said, the minutes. What did he play? I'm guessing he probably played 20 something minutes. At least I hope so. Because
I
if
don't
not,
know.
Steve Kerr was wilding even more.
Right.
I don't know. It didn't. It didn't seem like it. It seemed like he didn't like start out hot in the first half, and then the second half, it seemed like he wasn't hardly out there. It was like
Yeah.
one of those things
So
where,
that one is on Steve Kerr.
plus two, you got to look at it too. Like I think it'll be harder for like I think of it this way: as much as people like these other guys, they're better defenders. You think it's easier for Jason Tatum to guard Otto Porter standing still, or Jonathan Kaminga running up and down slamming the ball? So I mean, they got a night off. Listen, this guy's checking you, but you checking Otto Porter, who's just gonna stand out at the line. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
worry about chasing nobody or doing nothing.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
guys that really had to play defense was Smart and what's him? This guy, the other guy, Brown. They had to do a lot of running around, but Tatum got a night off on defense because they put him on
Mm-hmm.
Otto Porter.
Yeah. And
I
even
think.
that, yeah, as we mentioned,
Yeah,
in theory, it should have been a night off, but he was, knocking those threes down. It's just that Tatum didn't have to do much running around. It,
Right.
yeah,
it didn't help him though. He was rested on the
no,
offensive end and still couldn't get his game off because Wiggins. I wouldn't go as far as to say Wiggins shut him down because Tatum did miss a ton of open shots.
yeah.
But
I will say this: I do see something different this game. Like this guy's in Bielitsa or something. He played like in garbage time, but now
yeah,
he
they look
looking
for offense
Mooney's out and he's in.
because you think about it, Golden State. They're good, but it's almost a bit surprising that they're even there in the finals. Because if you think about it, where besides Steph and Clay, where's their consistent offense?
I mean, well,
Poole is
Poole
one of those dudes that once he
yeah,
get going, Poole could drop 30 on you. But if he's off, he doesn't even realize he's off. So he's constantly throwing up those wild shots.
Mm-hmm. I
you know,
think.
it's,
I'm sorry. I think the problem with Clay. The problem is Clay Thompson. He ain't the same ball player. I mean, that's what it is.
you're right.
Yeah,
That,
Now,
that,
he's
that's
not
that's
the same
exactly what
on
it is.
defense either. His
I
that
got a
lateral
question for you
movement is
guys
not the
about
same.
that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Because
got a
he was the
question for
guy
you
that
guys.
was trying to guard Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It wasn't working.
a lot of shots he would have made before injury that he's missing now, man. Even this game here, I'm like, wow, Clay missed that shot. Usually Clay would make that shot before injuries. Now, after injuries, man, he's missing a lot of shots, man. He's not the same ball
so
player.
so here's the question: do you trade Clay and pay Jordan Poole?
No, I'm not trading Clay.
We're not trading Clay because he's Steph's friend and they play well together, or you not trading him because he's gonna actually got a higher curve than Jordan Poole at this point.
I'm not trading Clay because Clay is a proven. Clay has put the work in. He's a warrior. He's homegrown. He paid his dues. He carried the weight along with Steph Curry all these years. So now that I guess he's on the back end of his career, I'm not going to throw him away. He still is beyond a serviceable ball player. He could play, but maybe next year he may be the old Clay. It takes
That's
time to
what I
have
was
two
going to say. I
injuries with
give
with,
Oh
him
with
yeah,
the Achilles, ACL.
because
A
he
guy
came
like Clay
back
deserves to stay there, at least be a six man of anything. But give rid of Clay now. Clay is a permanent warrior for life,
because
no
he
matter
came
what.
back around Christmas time or something like that.
Right,
So
yeah,
I'm giving him this season, as the whole
right,
get your legs back.
yeah.
If he come out
right,
there looking like this next year,
right,
I- he may be. And by next year, I mean not to necessarily start the season, but as the season goes on, I want to see him return to somewhat of the old Clay. Because in
right,
Yeah,
theory, his game should age well. Most of his running was around screens and stuff like that. It's not like Clay was known for going to the basket and
slamming the
hmm
finishing over
ball,
top of guys.
athletic.
So as long as he can get his legs back somewhat,
right,
should be fine. I don't
right.
know if he'll ever get that lateral quickness back, so his defense will probably suffer, but I think
hmm
the jump shot should be back next year.
right. Agree.
You know what I think one of the problems just looking at Golden State they have is that, and a lot of these teams, listen, the Nets, what happened to the time where people actually valued the ball? Like dudes just throwing the ball away, making all types of bad passes and bad decisions. Like, oh, we can overcome it. No, you can't overcome just turning the ball over every second.
And I think like Golden State for me, what their problem is, and it's a good and bad problem, but they're one of those teams that they got a lot of young talent, but they also got a bunch of veterans, right? So those veterans, Stephanie's guys, are win now mode. But yet that young talent, like you just mentioned, Kaminga is kind of he gets some minutes occasionally, but he's kind of rotting away on the bench. You got,
Hmm.
Wiseman hasn't been healthy, but he's another guy who's up and coming, right? Should be anyway.
hmm
Then
Yep.
you got Jordan Poole. So they got
Yeah.
guys where their team is kind of like built for the future too. But
Yeah.
those guys ain't necessarily ready to win a chip either.
Yeah.
You know,
You
Right,
got I mean, some of these guys I look at like, you got guys like Moody, but then like I don't even understand why like if this guy's not working out, why you don't see Peyton more, Gary Payton more? Like you understand what I mean?
I think uh, I think you'll
It's
see him now that he's back.
what Theo said made sense, not getting rid of Clay. But sometimes you loyal to a fault. That don't mean you got to play 32 minutes.
right.
I,
Agree.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily get rid of him, but some of these guys got to play, or you got to trade them for what you feel like you need, or something. Because having them just sitting on the bench, I feel like if these guys really pick the tempo and put these, then they probably could outrun the Celtics.
Who I think is going to be. I think as well as he played, I think the odd man out is going to be Clay. I think they're going to try to flip Wiggins. To be honest with
Yeah, I think so.
you,
I
I
can
think
see
they're going to
that.
try to flip Wiggins probably along with Wiseman or something for like
Return
another
of King.
veteran.
Bradley Beal, been in that rumor for a while.
I
And the
mean,
reason why Wiggins has to be the guy to flip, right, is Wiggins is he's like you mentioned with Clay, right? Clay is kind of like a warrior for life,
Hmm
whereas Wiggins not so much, you
yeah,
know. And Wiggins has a high enough salary where you could flip him for another veteran that you think could contribute more.
the
hmm
only problem I see with Golden State is they could turn into the Lakers. What I mean by that is they could start flipping all the young players for older dudes that they think they could do to fill in, ruin the future of the team. For now, like let's go
They
out and just
said
keep flipping these guys and bringing in guys.
supposedly like Steph bought into the idea of not doing that, which is why they was able to keep guys like a Jordan Poole, and even before Poole had this breakout year, he bought into them. Keeping these young guys, Kaminga, drafting Kaminga, Moody, because they could have flipped those guys before they even
Well, like,
drafted them,
yeah,
right, as draft picks,
yeah,
and tried to bring in all these veterans, but they held on to those picks and drafted them still. Wiseman, right? Wiseman was what, the number 2 pick or something like that?
yeah.
They could have
Yes.
flipped that pick, I'm sure, for some veteran at the time. Pascal Siakam or right.
Mm-hmm.
His name
Mm-hmm.
always seems to keep coming up in Golden State rumors for some reason, which I don't understand either. Is
Well,
if you're gonna get
Lamar,
Siakam, you might as well keep Wiggins.
that might be
Is
the deal for them, though. You know why? Because Wiggins is a Canadian. He might not mind going to Toronto. There, you flip him
Yeah,
for
if I'm him, I
Siakam.
wouldn't mind. You know,
Siakam is a better, I think, a better offensive player than Wiggins is, or better
I
all around
agree.
player.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. He has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, so if you could trade Wiggins and throw in like somebody else, like a Moody or something, and bring back Siakam, that probably will help him. But
the
again,
only thing I say with Siakam, and you probably could make the same case with Wiggins, is for one, I think Wiggins is a lot more athletic than Siakam. But
yeah,
I'm not impressed with either one of their jump shots either.
Mm-hmm.
it's not
You
consistent.
think I don't think Siakam has a consistent jump shot. He's a decent defender. Wiggins wasn't known for his defense until this year.
Well, they what the best thing Golden State could hope for is that Kyrie gets traded. That way they could trade Moody, Kaminga, Wiggins, and 6 picks, and KD come back. Then,
But you
then
gotta
they,
think about it. The reason why another like why Wiggins would be the odd man out is Wiggins was a starter in the All Star game, right?
yeah.
So you by trading him now, you're selling high on him because is Wiggins gonna play like this, next year?
I mean, not for.
If
I
Clay,
mean,
I can tell you this: if Clay returns to form, he won't because Clay gonna be
Mm-hmm.
out there shooting 20 plus times.
I don't even.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, I mean that starter. I mean, that was nice and everything. That'll never happen anyway because I don't think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are gonna both be hurt. I hope not again because both of
So
those
you got
dudes.
to sell high on Wiggins if you can. If you can
Yeah.
get a good return on him, sell high.
So we talk about Theo picked the Celtics and we went with Golden State, but I'm not even sure of that. Does Curry need to win this ring for his legacy?
I don't think so. I know there's been some talk about it, but anytime you're known as the greatest in any category, whether it's steals, blocks,
Yeah.
if you're the greatest in any category, I don't think you need to. And he already has multiple rings. Granted, he had
Yeah.
KD with a couple of those, right? And then they had one before KD got there.
Yeah.
But I think being the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, um, his legacy to me is already written. Would it be nice to get one, another one, and get that MVP, Finals MVP? Sure, but I don't think he needs it for his legacy.
It's debatable. This is a guy who's like the face of the league. He changed the league, 3-point shot, and greatest shooters ever. And
Yeah.
even though he got some chips, he's the same guy who lost a 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just the same guy who, I guess had to play well in a lot of point games in the finals. You know, I mean, stat wise, he might have 27 points, though, but you could tell somebody who's playing good is not playing good at all.
Yeah.
You could pick him for the game every time he played good, every time he didn't play good. Um, that being said, it's very debatable. I think he may need this ring right here
You know what's
to really cement his legacy as far as the best point guard, which I don't think he is, in my opinion, man. I've been
no,
around long enough to see these guys play. Like I said, I say on social media a lot of times, and even at work, I will never have my head Isaiah Thomas or Michael Johnson. Never. To the day I die. It will never
I
happen.
gotta tell you, I mean, shooting wise, yeah, he's the best, but
Right.
I don't think anything I don't think he holds a candle to Kyrie on anything else other than showing up to the ball game.
Mm.
probably the most important.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
get out
Kyrie.
there.
Yeah, Kyrie's a problem for him.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you know what's interesting? You think about it, everybody said it was a weak move, but would they have won those championships without Durant? I don't think they'd have won either one. I don't think they
Nope.
would have made it.
Right. They need each other. Curry and Durant
Yeah.
need each other, actually, to
You
save
know,
their
it's funny is
You
legacy.
know
that
what?
they
I'm
wouldn't
not
need
sure. Because remember, prior to that, the year prior, that's what made it supposedly a weak move by Durant is they won 73 games. They
but
end
they
up
won
choking in the finals, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
they won
And
7 games.
when Durant joined them and they won those two to get over the top. But they won 73 games. And prior to that, they won a ring on their own, with just the quote unquote big three of Clay,
I mean,
Steph, and Draymond.
you're
Hmm.
right. You're right. And I mean, a lot of people I give them I can't take nothing away from Cleveland, but we all know that had KD wouldn't have got that that torn Achilles tendon, and Clay went out too, Cleveland had no chance in that series. They didn't have
Yeah,
any shot in that. But you got to give it to him. But
Yeah.
I think it might be debatable because I think he hasn't got the Finals MVP, and two out of his three championships came with KD,
Hmm.
and KD was the man on both of those teams, or whether they
Right.
won or not. So I
I think
mean,
they in my opinion, I think they jerked him on that first one, Steph. I think when didn't Andre Iguodala get one?
yeah, that was
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I
that
think
was the
come
one
on.
that was
You know,
questionable.
that was
Well, that's
supposed to be Steph's right there.
maybe that's why you're on the court right now.
Right.
You need the ex
No.
Finals MVP out there. Yeah, that I didn't get that one.
Granted,
Andre
he was
Iguodala.
playing better then than he is now, obviously, but even
Yeah,
at that, he wasn't no finals MVP.
Hmm.
yeah.
Andre Iguodala.
Right.
So, a question: Golden State's been there. What I think it's 7 times in the last 10 years or something like that.
What,
Maybe
6 out of 8?
six out of
Yeah,
eight.
6 out of 8, I think. Yeah.
Are they a dynasty? I mean, I don't. Well, I guess
To me,
it's
they
funny
are.
to me because I say like it's not like the Celtics. What I mean by that is the Celtics won. What it was, I guess in this era, going to the championship is just like it goes back to what Jay-Z said, where was him where he respects they you respect the guy who got shot, he respects the shooter.
Hmm.
Now nowadays, just making it is the accomplishment. It's not even winning it.
Right.
You know, yeah, we
Yeah,
made it this amount of time. So
to
yeah, I
me,
guess
they're a dynasty.
like,
But
The
don't
only
you think?
it's
Don't
not
you
the
think?
prettiest looking dynasty because their teams were all over the place, meaning a lot of players coming in and out versus
Yeah.
like let's say the Spurs, right, where those guys were together,
yeah.
through the whole thing.
Well,
So
Chicago
so.
Bulls, right,
ain't
ran
he
with the same
500?
team.
Steph is 500 in the championship, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Steph is 500. I mean, I don't want to bring him up because I got a whole other question about him. Ain't LeBron's below 500, ain't
Yeah.
I think
he? Yeah.
so.
Right.
So
Oh,
I,
let me
I
ask you
got to.
guys a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before I forget. See, back in the days when the Lakers was winning and Celtics was winning dynasties, they was winning chips in those dynasties.
Yeah, they were winning. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and I mean, can the Warriors say that? Like, I mean, I know they won like well, they got three.
Yeah, that's why it's like if you
Yeah.
say
So,
Golden State is a dynasty, then you got to basically kind of say that LeBron himself as a person was a dynasty because wherever he moved around to, they went to the championship. They didn't necessarily win, but they went.
right, right. Now this keep changing as years go on, man.
Yeah,
yeah, and
it's different.
I agree with the LeBron because LeBron was carrying a lot of dead weight. It wasn't until he went to Miami,
Miami, yeah,
right, where he had any real help.
Hmm.
Miami, and then his
He had
second
a
time
little
in
help with
Cleveland, he had
Kyrie, but besides him and Kyrie, who else did he have?
well,
Kevin
Love was
Love.
still serviceable at that
Yeah,
point. He
Kevin
was
Love
still a
was
player.
decent back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was decent.
Now, here's the
Some big
question.
shots
I'm
for
gonna
him.
ask a question. It's a LeBron question, and I thought I hope it didn't come from his camp. What to me it seemed like a real weak thing to do to and say you on the first day of the NBA Finals make it about you and say LeBron's a billionaire. Like they could have brought that out the day
Yeah.
before,
Yeah,
the day after. Why the first day of the finals? I,
yeah,
Hmm.
I I personally hope it wasn't him. Him was, but
Nah, it ain't him, man.
I just thought that was real. That was bad.
Yeah, that ain't him, man.
that was
Yeah, the
kind
Yeah.
of
first day of the
The,
finals, we gonna
the,
start. LeBron's a billionaire. Come on, bro.
yeah, the social media era we live in, man, is
Yeah,
about headlines and getting ratings and getting well known. I guess in far as our websites and podcasts stuff like that. So and the
yeah.
sports stations. So I don't think that's wrong for sure.
No, I didn't think it was him either. It seemed like they just try to steal these guys' thunder a little bit.
Hmm.
So,
yeah,
but to his credit, he probably definitely wasn't. You didn't see him doing no interviews or having no conversations and none of that
Right,
stuff.
right, right.
I would imagine if his camp, they would have had a lot more, going with that.
Hmm.
But
yeah.
yeah. So, as our teams unfortunately won't be in the championship, not in the championship, but we can look forward to the draft coming up. I mean, and from what I see, it seems like it's a fairly deep draft. Like it's a couple of guys that like Well, one guy, the guy from Kentucky, didn't even play a game. Shadon Sharp, they're saying he might be like in the top 10, but
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah,
looks to be pretty deep right now. I don't know who would you guys you'd say is the number one pick. I mean, I'm kind of torn on who it is.
if I'm Orlando and I keep that pick, I'm going with Jabari Smith. Chet kind of scares me due to his body. It depends on what position you're trying to put Chet because he's like a 7 footer, right?
He's
Yeah,
taller than that. Yeah, 7 foot
yeah,
one,
So are
two.
you gonna put him? You can't put him at center. He's smaller than Porzingis.
yeah.
So he ain't playing no center. Granted, centers aren't what they used to be, right? So you don't really see guys banging down low anymore.
Right.
Even at that, I still think he'll get eaten alive on the boards. Forget about scoring. Guys will be tearing him up on the boards. These big men. I don't see him being able to block him out. So he kind of scares me. I think his talent is great, but I think he's a bit too small. So I would stay away from him with the number one pick. And then the other guy, Paolo, I like him, but another thing with him is I thought they said something about he loses 7 pounds a game or
He
something
has a
from
medical
sweating
condition
and
or something where he has.
cramps and I'm
Yeah,
sure NBA teams will do a better job of figuring that out. But that
Mm-hmm.
kind of scares me a little too with him.
yeah,
Um, the number one pick is going to be either Chet or Jabari.
yeah,
Panchero is going to be the third pick. Panchero is more polished than all three of those, I think. Offensively, more NBA ready.
yeah,
Jabari's nice though. Jabari
yeah,
got that AD kind of style to his
yeah.
game. Um, but the highest ceiling is Chet. He has the highest set of all those guys. Chet could do it all. But the
I,
problem with Chet is that you take Chet, you're gonna have to wait a couple more years. Are you willing to wait a couple more years to develop him, put some size on him? Put some size and look at his game a little bit more. But as far as the overall skill, talent, upside, Chet is the number one pick as far as upside.
I
But
got a question for you about that. And don't get me
mhm,
wrong, I agree. But you tell me this one: how much different is Chet than Bol?
To me, he
Bol
also
can
Chet,
handle the ball
Chet
better. He's more athletic than Chet. He's better around the basket. You putting the ball on the floor. He might not be able to shoot as well as Chet or whatever. And they around the body types the same.
Chet is
So
one of those
would you
dudes. To
drive
me, like
Bol with the
Theo
number one
said,
pick?
I agree that Chet has the highest upside, but I also think he's out of those three the most likely to potentially be a bust
It's
too.
the boom or bust thing. I do think
Yeah,
you know what?
exactly. He's a high ceiling, but he can also end up being a serious bust.
mhm,
I think if he goes to a team like Detroit, he'll be fine. You know why? Because they'll tailor what they do around him. He can't go to a team where he has to go to fit in. He has to go someplace where they making the game around him. Like, okay, this is Cade Cunningham and Chet's team, and we're gonna do it around them. Because if
Yeah,
you go someplace like where they already have some established players, it's
mhm.
gonna be tough because they're not gonna like design the game plan around him. He's gonna have to basically work with other guys.
Right.
and
I
I don't
do
even know
think
if I don't know if Orlando would design their whole game plan
no,
around.
that's what I was
'Cause
say.
I think Orlando has decent young
Well,
talent
they got
already.
tons of guards. They got between Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, and Markel Fultz. I don't know if he ever touched the ball. And
And
then you
then
got Jonathan Isaacs on
Mm,
the Wagner brother, right? The one
the
that's
Wagner.
actually
Yeah,
decent.
Franz Wagner. So
Yeah,
I don't know
he's
if that's a good fit. He can't play power forward. I hope
right.
that. Yeah. So I don't know if that's a good fit for him. But you know what? A team like Detroit would be good. OKC, they'll if he could go there, they'll do some
Okay,
stuff.
see for sure it'd be good fit
yeah,
for
Yeah,
Chet.
yeah,
good fit for him.
yeah.
Those type of teams would be good for him. I think some of those upperclassmen, although they're not gonna get drafted as high, they're gonna be all right. I don't even know if they're up by today's standard. Like I think that dude, I think from Iowa, Keegan Murray or somebody like that.
Yeah, yeah, Keith
Yeah.
Murray's good.
NBA
Yeah,
ready,
man.
NBA ready player to contribute
Y-
right now
Yeah.
today.
The kid
Yeah,
Ivory
Yeah,
from I
Purdue.
think it was
Yeah,
Purdue,
yeah,
you
those guys are
know.
ready to contribute right now.
Yeah.
and that's why I think the Knicks need to jump into that fourth spot if Jaden Ivey is still on the board. If you
Mm,
got to sacrifice something down the line, that Dallas pick, a pick swap, for next year, because supposedly Sacramento is looking to deal that pick, that number 4 pick, because they
That might
want
mm,
at this point they want a veteran. They don't need another guard. They just got rid of um,
um
The other guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Halliburton.
Brandon Rock in the end. I actually believe it or not, people don't like it. I think that was the right move. Because if I had to choose between him, Fox, and the guy they drafted from Baylor, his skill set is the most replaceable. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
So
Now, do you? That's part of the reason why I guess they want to trade that pick is if I could see if Chet or one of those guys are somehow still on the board at number 4, I don't think they would trade the pick. But
no,
if it's Jaden Ivey there, he's at least right now the consensus number 4 pick. You don't need another guard if you're them. You just traded Halliburton because your guard
no.
situation was
I mean,
overcrowded.
the
They
only
want
thing,
veterans supposedly.
only thing that some of these teams need to do really is they need to like package up young players and picks to get like established stars or something. Like that's their problem. Like even the players that they have that they think are stars, they fringe stars. Like I like Darren Fox, but there's a whole bunch of other guards that I would take. You know,
Yeah, he's
it's
not
not
a.
like he's not the guy. I'm like, oh, I gotta have De'Aaron Fox or something.
I'll take him on the Knicks any day, but
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
just an improvement. It's not like put it this way: if you had a choice between getting Damian Lillard or De'Aaron Fox, you're gonna take Lillard.
yeah, I take Lillard over
Yeah,
most of the guards in the league,
yeah.
including the 2 guards.
Darren Fox is another John Wall, just younger.
You know, yeah, you're right.
Just younger.
You're right. So you
It's hard to
gotta
argue that.
yeah you gotta say that. I mean, I do think it's gonna be a pretty good draft as far as being deep for players
It
available for.
is. It
I think
is.
that I think there's some stills. I think like I think some like I think with the Nets with their salary cap situation, you seen what they did, right? They already turned down the pick, deferred it
Oh
because
yeah, they deferred it until next year.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah, they don't
Yeah,
want
they
to
got
pay
issues over there. They got issues over
yeah.
there.
So I mean,
because
talk
it
about
would have been what the number 23rd pick.
yeah, that person wouldn't have got to play anyway.
Yeah,
Whoever it is, they wouldn't have got. I mean,
Well,
you figure too.
yeah.
This guy's coming back. A lot of people quietly didn't realize he was out the whole season.
oh yeah,
Joe
Joe.
Joe Hart
Harris.
missed the whole season. So that'll be something. I'm sure if Kyrie doesn't come back or whatever happens, they'll get some good compensation for him, whether it be 72 draft picks or somebody that just wants. I mean, I tell you what, you could probably bring back De'Aaron Fox easily.
Skill wise, you could get a lot for Kyrie, but I think most of these teams now are like, is this guy a flake or not?
You know
Yeah.
what?
So
His,
he's kind of devalued himself,
the
and it
bottom
has
line,
nothing to do with his talent.
he needs to stop playing around. He's not leaving the Nets. They're gonna give him an incentive based deal, and he's either gonna take it up because at the end of the day, he shouldn't have a problem with that. Because that way, if you lose the money, it's by your own choice, right?
Yeah, because I'm sure the incentives wouldn't be worded in a way that
If
if
you
you're
got hurt, yeah,
legitimately injured, right?
yeah,
It's they're not trying to guard against him missing games due to legitimate injuries. They're trying to
no,
protect themselves against,
I
I'm
need a
sitting
break.
out because
Yeah,
something happened somewhere else and now I'm emotionally affected and
yeah, I'm protesting something on the other side of the world or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what they're trying to guard against. Him missing
Yeah,
10 games here for that,
and
15 games for this.
he's got to eat that. He's got to eat it. He's got to accept it. And plus, for the Nets, unfortunately for them, they got to sign him anyway. You know why? Because how it works, the way the NBA salary cap works, is that they can't just trade him and get back equal value. If they trade him, say they traded him to a team that had cap space, they couldn't bring back a guy his level because they wouldn't have cap money. They can only go over the cap because he's already on the team.
They gotta they
That's crazy how it works, right?
the dude that needs to be talking to him, and maybe he is Kevin Durant. Durant needs to tell him like, dude, you got to get your shit together. You kind of
Yeah.
holding the team hostage with this stuff, and that's why James Harden left. James Harden wanted no parts of that.
Well, you know what's
He got
funny?
there and seen that this dude. Think about it. Kyrie is the guy who orchestrated these guys coming to the Nets, only for him to flake and kind of leave them on their own.
The sad thing though
James
is that
Harden
Well
got there
said.
and he was by himself.
it
Kevin
shows
Durant was hurt, and Kyrie was refusing to play.
But you know what's funny about that? I was listening to this thing about the stat about when Kevin Durant was healthy, they was the number one seed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Mm,
can believe it.
even without Kyrie, they were the number one seed.
And remember when James Harden first got there and he was playing with KD, he was balling.
Yeah,
right. That's right.
He was
That's right.
balling.
That's right. Kyrie comes back and things change. I mean,
yeah,
Kyrie comes back, things change. I'm sorry. Right.
And
yeah,
then yeah, he got tired of the inconsistency. Whether they would have won the championship or whatever, I'm sure they would have made it further than they did because they wouldn't even
yeah,
been playing Boston in the first round. It's like
yeah,
you just said, they were the number one seed. They would have probably been a top three seed even without Kyrie.
yeah.
Right.
KD gets hurt, Kyrie flakes, and James Harden says, "I had enough."
Mm-hmm. Agree.
It's funny. I would say I get James Harden's feeling, but to me, James Harden is not a winning player. He he's not.
Kobe
He's not.
said so
And
many years ago.
what do y'all think about like other guys they brought in? Andre Drummond. Do you
I
bring
thought
him
Andre
back?
Sherman played well for them, but I think they got
If
to
I'm
figure out.
Drummond, I don't know if I want to return though. They kind of disrespected him.
I would get rid of all of those dudes. To be honest with you, it just depends on the cap situation because they're interchangeable. Like, what's the difference between Andre Drummond and paying Dwight Howard? I mean, it's
Yeah,
just two
Dwight
million
Howard did
dollars. It's
that
two
same
two
thing.
million dollars. Like, you don't like it here? All right, I'll find another guy to get 6 rebounds and 6 points and
Mm-hmm.
do it without complaining. I
Right.
mean,
Nick Claxton, I think, is a free agent,
well, they're gonna have to sign him back,
and
and
I think that was part of their problem is they didn't have enough bigs either, even when they
yeah,
were healthy. Their
they
front
gotta.
line and their
You know what
front
it
court was
is?
kind of weak.
You either gotta have a big guy or you gotta have a 6'9", 6'10" leaper. Because Robert Williams is not that big. He's
Yeah,
just
like you
real
say, he's like
physical.
6'9", 6'10".
Yeah, he's real physical and he's a high flyer and he plays bigger.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he does.
So
The
they,
Nets
I
got to
mean,
find one.
it's
You
not
know,
that easy. It's
If
not
if
that
you
easy.
type of money, it gonna be easy too. You type of money. If you can't pay a late round draft pick money, so you know you got issues.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not
that's
gonna be
true.
easy. I
That
mean,
is true. You're not
unless
gonna get one for
Utah
free.
unless Utah is looking to keep Donovan Mitchell and willing to take cheap on Gobert, they're gonna dump the whole world on him.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean, there's
that's a
certain players that could
possibility.
get moved, but I don't know how it works salary cap. Like a guy like Porzingis seems like a guy that'll always be on the move. There's certain guys that's always going to be on the move.
Yeah,
They don't necessarily help, but I mean, there's guys on people's benches that can help people, other teams. So
I think at this point, AD may be approaching that always on the move, you know, status. If he can't get himself healthy,
Yeah,
he's gonna be
Brian
another
having
one of
that.
those guys.
I
I think
mean,
he's there now, and they're not looking to deal him based on the LeBron factor.
I think
If
this
LeBron
August.
wasn't there, I think they'd be considering trading AD, and you know they want Russ out of there.
Here's the question. I mean, I gotta believe this. If people sitting down talking about, oh, they're gonna be better, Darvin Ham's. But listen, Darvin Ham's gonna be good in the beginning until he has that one game where he tells LeBron to do X and LeBron wants to do Y, and then the whole game is over. Everything's over after that. The
Was
first
it
time you see a video and you see him in the huddle and LeBron standing over there, it's a wrap.
was it Charles Barkley who said if your if your coach is almost the same age as
Yeah,
your best player, you ain't gonna be no good?
no,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's almost one of those things.
the only at this point you're gonna laugh. It's only a couple of coaches that could coach LeBron in the NBA, and then I get his thought process. Like Steve Kerr could coach him, Greg Popovich could coach him. I mean, other than that, I can't even think of too many other people that
You
could.
know what? I always thought of LeBron for the most part because he always comes in. His usual thing, right? Is as we know, is come in. He usually immediately gets the coach who was there fired or whatever, right? Which didn't work in Miami. He was trying at first with Spoelstra, trying to get him out,
Yeah,
but it didn't work. But usually that's his thing, right? He comes in, his
yeah.
team evaluates, right?
Gets
His
rid of all the young players, gets the coach fired.
they get
You
rid of
know,
all the picks for
lose.
veterans he wants. But I always thought LeBron, for the most part, when he's on the court, is pretty coachable. LeBron's problem, especially this time around, is he did a terrible job at being a GM.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
know,
know
he was okay. He was a decent GM, which is why they won the first chip over there with the Lakers when he brought in AD, and he still
yeah.
had those other guys. He failed when he did the Russell Westbrook thing. Him and
Yeah.
him and Russ
Well,
was hanging out in the off season, working out together, hanging
remember,
out and all that, and he got
he
caught up
chose
in that.
Russell Westbrook over who did he choose?
Buddy
Russell?
Hield.
Yeah,
Lowry and DeRozan.
yeah,
Yeah, and DeRozan, yeah.
yeah.
And those other guys would have definitely been a better fit. I don't even DeRozan, I'm not sure how
Well, you know what?
he would
DeRozan
have
would have
struggled too with
they
LeBron.
would they wouldn't have got along because DeRozan's the type of player I noticed that DeRozan is gonna be DeRozan. He don't care who's out there.
And
Mm-hmm.
he's another guy who can't shoot.
Right.
He
Oh,
has a hell of a mid-range game.
yeah,
We know he could jump, but he
yeah.
can't shoot. So LeBron would have been dominating that ball. It wouldn't have been DeRozan in the mid post. DeRozan likes the ball in the mid post. Back you down, throw a million
Yeah.
pump fakes, and then hit you with that little mid-range jump shot. And then occasionally he'll throw it down on you.
He
Mm-hmm.
worked out well with Chicago because Levine exactly he can shoot. That's why they worked out well.
The only thing now
Mm.
is you hear the rumors it ain't working out too well for Chicago because Levine
He want
supposedly
Max
upset
Price.
that he basically wasn't the man. So now they're saying Levine's gonna be entertaining other teams in the offseason because he's a free agent.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, realistically, I at this point with some of these guys, I don't blame them because if let's say I'm 26, 27 years old and I'm not winning, I got to get something out of this.
If I'm the Bulls,
Money,
I ain't paying him
wins, a
out.
better
'Cause
opportunity, better weather, something.
if I'm the Bulls, I'm not giving him no supermax or whatever it is. Because isn't his
Uh,
supermax like 230 something million or something
yeah,
crazy?
Yeah, something crazy now.
Five
I
I
ain't
tell
years,
doing
you
I ain't
that.
what.
giving
If
Levine
I'm
no
him,
two.
I'm gonna like I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that super max because
You're gonna give
Lean,
Levine almost 50. I don't blame him for asking for it, but if I'm the
yeah.
Bulls, I'm not giving him no almost 50 million a year for Zach Levine.
Well, they gonna get rid of
40
him because
something.
remember they got Oyo DeSumo and they got Patrick Williams they drafted and they still got dude from North Carolina. So they got some patchwork guards. Plus they still got a pick in the teens or something like that.
I would
So
try to trade him, like a sign and trade, that is.
yeah,
Yeah, they're gonna do that. Yep, sign and trade.
This
yeah,
dude,
he's trying to trade with Golden State.
I think
Probably
He gonna be with
Lakers.
Golden State. They're gonna trade
Maybe the
Wiggins and
Knicks.
Poole.
yeah,
Maybe the Knicks.
it could potentially be the
He
Knicks.
could go to the Knicks, but I'm gonna tell you what, I could see. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't want RJ because you can't have two guys that do want to do the same damn stuff. Him and him and DeRozan on the court. You like,
And
wait a
that's
minute,
where I think
somebody got to
I
shoot
wouldn't
the ball.
mind Levine on the Knicks, but he presents that same problem too with RJ, right? I don't think those two are good.
I
I'll
think
take them, but I don't think
I,
those two are a good
I think it's
mix.
bad coaching to be honest with you. I think Levine is a mix with most players. As long as the coach realized that most of the players in the league he's better than, and he should be the number one option. He's better than RJ and better than Randall. Day
You know what
one,
it
as
is?
soon as you step on that court, the coach should be like, listen, see, plan A is to get him the ball. Plan B is to refer to plan A. Plan C is you.
Like I
The
think Levine and DeRozan would have worked out better, and they played well, I thought, together. But I think Levine has to play at a faster pace. I think he got frustrated with watching DeRozan,
pounded and
pound in the mid post area
the Randall,
most of the shot clock.
Julius Randall. Dude,
And granted, DeRozan was doing his thing, right?
I think the sad part about it is that the NBA is kind of turned to AAU. So what happened when the NBA used to be the coach would dictate how the plays went and how things went. They'd run plays and guys that could shoot. Now it's more like, listen, y'all, I'm the best dude on this team. I need to have the ball, and you need to make sure I get the ball. And then a lot of guys on the team now overvaluing their skill sets too, because you see guys get on the court all the time. Like this guy shouldn't even be shooting, let alone trying to do these moves that he's doing, and
I
it
think a
just
big
makes no sense. So the coaches, I think, you know what you got to see. You know how David Letterman has that show where he has people he speaks to or something. Like he speaks to different stars. I seen the one today where he spoke to Kevin Durant. And you know what Kevin Durant said the role of the coach is now? The role of the coach is to put together egos. He said number one thing a coach's job is to do is to manage people's egos and personalities. He
Which
said
means
because at
Steve
this
Kerr
point in the
did not.
NBA, he said
You
at
know?
this point everybody in the NBA knows all the plays. They know where they're supposed to be. They know the calls. They know what they're capable of, the skill sets and stuff. You just need somebody that's going to get out there and be able to basically say, listen, this is what should happen. This guy should get the ball. And I don't even think there's a lot of coaches out there at this point that have the ability to do that unless you're coaching young dudes or you top flight coach.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
it's
See,
true.
these players here, are these players about themselves or about winning chips?
I think it's about what they say is it on the name on the front or the name on the back. I think it's about
Mm-hmm.
the name on the back of the jersey more than the name on the front.
And I think maybe Levine is kind of guy who work by his name and back of his jersey than trying to win a chip.
You know
Because there was
what?
rumors about going to Miami or going to the Lakers. He'll be third fiddle in Lakers.
I tell you
Yeah,
what, yeah, on the Lakers he will be. And if it is no, let me tell you, if they made a deal with the Lakers that did not involve either LeBron or AD for him, I would petition the league because listen again, that would be some collusion. If you go back to you guys remember this, remember when Kobe was on the Lakers and they vetoed the Chris Paul deal years ago.
yeah.
Now, if you go back to the standards of back then, shouldn't that Anthony Davis deal have been vetoed? Seeing as how LeBron's agency was the one that was basically Anthony Davis's agents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tampering.
Yeah. So think of it this way: if you go there, they need some. I think they got something they talking about with the league with that too, because realistically, Levine could play for anything he wanted to. If he really wanted a championship, he could go play for $6 million this year, get under the cap, and then charge him $50 million next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most of these players they have those options. They just don't want to risk losing
Yeah,
that back,
yeah,
mess around and get hurt, or you have a down season
yeah.
for whatever reason. You go over to your new team, you don't perform as well. Now they trying to offer you 15 instead of the 40 or 50.
Mm-hmm. Makes
That's
sense.
laugh. That's why I think Bradley Bill's not leaving Washington. Now without
That's
getting a
why.
max deal, he'll
That's
be
why I
there try
think.
to ask that afterwards.
And the owners caught on to that, right? That's where the frustration on the owner side come in
Yeah,
because the new thing is get that bag, and then a year or two into it,
I gotta
force
get
your
out of
way
here.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want to be here no more.
yeah. They're gonna have to change that. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I hate to say it. It is pretty consistent with LeBron James agency's clients that really pull that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, his clients are the ones that pull that nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they really did something wrong too when they did that thing with Philly this year where they wanted this guy out. Who was it that they had? They were trying to make a deal. It wasn't Embiid or something, but
In
it,
Philly?
yeah, dude threatened to pull Tyrese Maxey out of there, and he wasn't even part of the deal. I forgot who it was. Somebody on Philly that they had to trade, or they end up
No,
trading.
I think that wasn't that a part of the Ben. That was a part of the whole Ben
Ben Simmons,
Simmons
yeah,
Ben
yeah,
drama.
Simmons trade. Right.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
He's
Okay.
basically forced Ben Simmons out of there and was like, "Listen, if Ben Simmons doesn't go, I can guarantee you that Tyrese Maxey's not going to be here." So Tyrese Maxey's their player too. You can't do stuff like that. To the point where Tyrese Maxey had to say he wanted to stay and he didn't know anything about that.
Right. That's sad, man.
Yeah, and
Can't be doing
that's
that.
when if you're Maxi, you might want to look into changing your representation at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's considerate for sure.
Well, isn't Nerlens Noel still suing them because off of false pretenses or something that they instructed him badly not to take a deal?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't take
Yeah,
it
he
and
lost
wanted
a
it.
lot
Cost
of
him
money.
millions. Yeah, cost a
Yeah,
lot
Yeah.
of money.
he lost a lot of money.
The sad thing about it, that could be something about the relationships you have with the teams. Because they could go back and tell Maxi that he didn't get a deal. Unless he's dealing directly with him, they could tell him, listen, they didn't offer you the same amount as this team. He would never know.
Yeah, you would never know in theory.
Yep. So the relationships they have are crazy.
Yes.
Man. So what do you guys think about the Zion Williams thing? We talk about injuries and paying people and all. We've been talking about paying people and the Kyrie and injuries and not showing up. Yeah, I think Zion Williamson might have played 30% of all the games that he could play in his career so far, or something like that. But he, I don't think he asked for it, but he did mention that he'd be willing to. I mean, I would be too if I'm not showing up. Willing to sign a max contract, and the Pelicans are like they don't want to do that.
They
I mean,
shouldn't.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's a double-edged sword in a way with him. And the reason why I say that is in this is if you believe the rumors, but the rumors were that in the playoffs he actually wanted to suit up and play.
yeah, he did. I believe he did.
And they held him back. So now, I mean, you holding him back, right, from playing in the playoffs and stuff like that, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
And you also don't want to pay him due to the injuries, which I don't blame him.
Right.
But you should have just let the guy play. Like you can't hold him back during those type of games and then use it against them, so to speak.
Yeah,
The guy he obviously felt, and who knows, they might have been doing that before with some of these injuries that he had, where he felt he was good enough to play, and they just were being overly cautious, right? Because he's their franchise player.
I mean, I
So
could
maybe
say
that
that.
I'm not saying that 30% would have jumped up to 70%.
No,
Maybe it would have been 50%,
could
right?
have been.
He missed 50% of the games if they weren't being overly cautious with him and allowed him to play.
I do think that his like if you watch those videos, come on, we all know that if you could throw the ball between your legs and slam it, you can run. There's nothing wrong. Your legs are
Yeah,
not
it's,
damaged. Yeah,
it's
like he may not have been in shape, game shape where he could run around for 30. He could have gave him 15 minutes. He could have
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
exactly. He
He
could
could
have
have
given
did
him
that
10, 15 minutes.
easy. Yeah. So they can't really say that. I mean, I'm gonna ask you guys as Knicks fans, do you do the deal? Because people see this as an opening. I don't know what they would have to give him, but I would guarantee you that part of Zion wanting to go there would not you wouldn't be able to give up Cam Reddish or RJ.
Yeah, and I trade everybody but
Everybody
him.
else.
And the reason being is solely based on the Knicks history. And it is a typical Knicks move in terms of we've been down this route before. We're taking on injury prone stars, Amari Stoudemire on the one leg, right? Which I love Stoudemire for
Yeah,
even wanting to come to the Knicks, right? When other guys were scared of it. But
Mm-hmm.
we've been down this route of taking on Antonio McDyess, right?
yeah,
After he had the knee injuries. So you got to be scared from that perspective because we already been down that route. But the reason why I say if I'm the Knicks, I'd do it in a heartbeat is we already know none of these other stars are coming here. Like
yeah.
occasionally, every 3-4 years, we get excited. Oh, LeBron is coming. This guy is coming. This guy. Once he's a free agent. So if we manage to get a guy of Zion's magnitude, we just gotta hope that the guy could play 70% of his
Well,
games
the problem the
because we're
problem
not getting anybody else.
the problem with the Knicks
Unfortunately.
is the ownership because
If James Dolan, yeah, exactly. If
they
Dolan
messed up
sells
the
the team,
KD
maybe.
thing. You heard about that? They messed that up. Talking about he didn't want to give KD, he didn't want to give Kevin Durant a guaranteed deal.
Yeah, it's like if Dolan sells the team, then maybe some of these other guys will come. But for some reason, we just can't get these star players to come.
You might want to
Free
rip the
agency. So
arena down. If
whoever we get that's a star, we're gonna have to trade for them or draft them.
yeah,
Draft them and they just develop
have
into a
to stay.
star.
They got no
But I
choice. Yeah.
don't think we're gonna get these guys in free agency. So if we can get a Zion via trade, I think you got to go for it.
I mean,
Anybody, any of these stars, not just Zion. If we can get any star via trade, you got to
I
do it.
would question him though. If you gave Zion a max contract guaranteed and wouldn't give Kevin Durant one 2 years prior, I would definitely question your ownership ability because Kevin Durant would say, I mean, you talk about a generational player. I don't know if Zion's there yet.
Hindsight is 2020, but if you think
Yeah.
about it, I'm glad we didn't get KD and Kyrie now because
Oh,
they were
you
coming
had
as a
it.
pair apparently.
Yeah.
So imagine Kyrie doing. You think people are going off on Kyrie now? If he was doing this with a Knick uniform on, it'd be a lot worse. Like
They'd have had to
media
rehire
behind it.
Isaiah Thomas to get him in order.
The media coverage for him, Kyrie flaking on the Nets is bad. Imagine Stephen A and these guys, how much Stephen A would have been gone off if he was in the Knick jersey. He already gone off on him.
Yeah.
But in
I
the
got a,
Knick jersey,
I got a question. A question about that. Steve, speaking of Stephen A, they had a debate about whether Steph Curry was a top 10 player all time. And Stephen A said, and this is crazy, and I don't even listen to Kendrick Perkins or something. I don't know why they allow him to talk. But he said that Steph Curry is a top 10 player and KD's not. Steph Curry's a top 10 player of all time and KD's not.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
That's,
I don't even know. To be honest with you, I don't even know whether both of them are is debatable. Either one of them is debatable.
right.
Yeah, it's debatable.
Top
Yeah.
10.
But if you even look at just from a statistic standpoint, there's no way that Curry could be there and not KD.
That's probably that. It almost sounds personal, you know.
Oh yeah, you know.
Right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
almost
exactly what it
Well,
is.
it
Kendrick
sounds like
Perkins
he
and
may just
Durant
like
got something going
Steph
on.
more for some reason.
Yeah, Perkins and Durant definitely have something going on. Yeah.
It's also right to the Knicks real quick. So the Knicks didn't get KD because they wanted to see his Achilles injury report,
Yeah.
right? But now they want to get Zion Williamson without even asking for a damn injury report of any kind. So
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
They better ask for one.
that's New York for you, though. You know what I mean? That's New York in a nutshell.
Yeah, yep.
Pretty
Yep.
much, yeah.
Well, maybe they could try to draft Pablo Blanchard. They could just have Duke rename Knicks to the Duke.
Yeah, you better trade up something.
It's
Get
actually more
somebody.
Kentucky, right? The Knicks
Oh
is
yeah.
the
No, they're
Knicks
gonna
is pretty
bring in.
much Kentucky.
I think that they might have projected them to draft the dude from Kentucky this year. The point guard dude,
Oh,
Wiggins.
yeah,
Ty Williams, yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
That's
he's
a,
okay, but I would probably stay away from him. I know we need a point guard, but it might be a little bit of a reach.
You mean
But he did
Emmanuel?
have a down. Yeah, he's better than what he showed, I think, at Kentucky because he was kind of injury prone there.
yeah.
Plus, Kentucky, a lot of times those guys don't really get to show what they're fully
Nah.
capable of because it's more of a team oriented system over there. So you don't have guys going off for averaging 20, 25.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets should have kept that pick and hoped that this dude fell. The dude from Memphis. They could have used. See, that's the dude. Remember we talking about undersized centers that can help people? Jalen Duren from Memphis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think somebody's going to snatch him up.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go outside of the top 10.
I think he's going to be definitely a lottery pick.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys: should Knicks take the best player available, regardless of position, or stick to a certain position of need?
I think they need to personally trade up. I think we need to trade for number 4 if Sacramento is dealing that pick.
If they keep the
and
pick, they
draft
got to take
Ivy.
the best player. They got to take the best player available.
if we aren't trading up for Ivy, then I think we just need to draft the best talent.
Do you re-sign Mitchell Williams?
Robinson.
Sorry, Mitch Robinson. You sign him?
It depends on the number, but I like Mitch.
Yeah, I'm a Mitch fan.
How much?
I saw a stat saying that we play better without him on the bench, though.
If you gave Sims those minutes, right? Would you see much of difference? You think?
I wonder if those same stats are the same ones that show Memphis playing better without Morant, right? Was it
right?
Some stat floating around.
Yeah. It's legit though. It's legit though, but you don't chip with like that either. So stop the nonsense, man.
See, that's a team like when you look at players and stuff like that. If I had a team and I was looking to stock my team with players, I would look at some of these winning teams and the fact that they can rotate some of these guys in that are actually effective. Start getting those guys off the bench. Like somebody right now should be like, you know what? I'm gonna sign Jordan Poole because you figure, right? I'll give you a perfect example. Would Golden State be here if Jordan Poole was on Dallas?
I don't think.
Good question.
Yeah, I don't. I think you have to be willing.
Hardaway was playing.
If you go that route, you got to be willing to take a chance.
Yeah,
because that person. Think about it. That's what Houston did, right? That's how James Harden became James Harden.
Yeah.
On OKC, he was the sixth man. He was good, but he was the sixth man. OKC chose not to pay him, and Houston took that chance and said, "Hey, we think this guy is a lot more than the sixth man," and they guessed right.
Yeah. Hey,
somebody's going to try to do that. I think with Tyler Hero.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's right or not, but he's going to be the next person that somebody takes that chance on.
Well, look at Shaq.
Who they chose? They chose Ibaka over Harden.
Yeah, he chose
Mm.
Ibaka over Harden.
Yeah, hindsight, man. That's like a good
And
decision
you know
right
why?
there.
'Cause they thought the dude they had, the French dude, the defensive dude, was just good enough to get him over. Remember, Harden didn't start, so he could start.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
that was a bad move.
That a crew, man, over there, OKC.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
Westbrook,
and that's when
KD,
all of them were in their
Ibaka.
prime too.
well,
And don't
think
forget,
about
don't
it.
forget Jeff Green was there too.
Jeff Green didn't they take Cleveland to 6 games or something when they were like second year players or something?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And I think that's
Miami.
why KD
yeah,
took so much heat.
Miami. Yep.
I think that's why KD took so much heat. Because it's like, dude, if you would have stayed there, there's no guarantees, but there's a good chance you would have got a ring over there.
Yeah.
I think he
Shit.
just got sick of playing with
Westbrook.
Westbrook.
Yeah,
You know?
I think Westbrook kind of wears out. I think the problem with KD is just even watching that thing. His personality is such that he's not confrontational, and he sees himself as a basketball player. He's just gonna play basketball. They asked him like, did he never? They asked him, Letterman asked him, did he not get along with coaches? He said he got along with every single coach he had. He said they have dust ups, and they asked him about what. He's like, maybe I think we should have ran a different play, or maybe we should do something differently, and maybe they don't like my leadership style. So
I think
apparently, coaches have told him about his leadership style or something like that. Which
Mm-hmm.
basically he said that initially he had to calm down because he was playing off a lot of emotion. So he would go in there and he would talk to players in a way like that. But he's like, now he's kind of laid back. Maybe he should be less laid back.
I think uh I think one of KD's problems is I think his skin is too thin.
Yeah.
Like
That's what
anything
it
you say
is.
about this dude, anything, he's like, you could be on Twitter, right? You tweet something and he's the first dude to respond. Most NBA players wouldn't even bother. Now I understand if dudes is talking reckless about your family and this and that, but you could go on there right now after the show and probably add him, and make some comment. He probably you get a response out of him.
Get a
Mm-hmm.
I
rise
think
out
that's
of
the
it.
problem. You gotta let some of this stuff slide. Like, dude, just hoop. You too good to be worried about what the average person is saying.
Well, they'll find out next year because if Ben Simmons doesn't get his mind right and his body right or something, the house is gonna get cleaned.
Oh
Put it
yeah.
that they're
And
gonna
I
bring Irvin back. They don't have to, but if Ben Simmons is not something next year, they're gonna clean house. The Nets
and
gonna start
I
fresh.
I'm actually rooting for him. I hope he comes back and plays well. I
I
don't even
mean,
think for him he doesn't have to come back and drop 20, and that's not his game.
no,
If he goes
he
out there and
actually
gets you 15 points, get the 8 rebounds, eight
Mm-hmm.
assists, and play that defense that he's known
Defense.
for,
Right, right.
he's actually the best perfect player for them for what they need.
yeah,
They
he would
they
be.
don't need him taking jump shots. They got Joe Harris. They got a whole bunch of people out there. Count a lot of guys want to take shots.
You don't need him scoring. The
No,
biggest problem in Philly was that they had no other talent. Now, if Philly would have kept that crew together when they brought over Jimmy Butler and they had
yeah,
Tobias Harris, they had him, they had
hmm
Embiid, right? I think that's when Ben Simmons was kind
yeah,
of at his best because
yeah.
he could just do him. He wasn't, dependent on like as being a scorer,
What it is
being
is
that
that
number one overall pick. And B was the go-to guy. Then you have him. It's like you depended on this guy to get you 25 a night.
yeah.
That's just not his game.
I think what they did was Jimmy Butler say they chose to buy Harris over him. They didn't choose to buy. They chose Ben Simmons over him
Right.
because
Yeah, that's what I
he's
think.
he's known for killing young players. And I'm pretty much sure some of those Miami cats don't exactly feel him playing with him either. Because right about now, I'm sure Duncan Robinson, other than getting the check, probably like, I don't care if I never see this guy again.
You
He
heard
got paid too.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero say he want to start.
Well, they
They
not
asked
getting
him
rid of
about it
Butler.
at the end of the season, and
They
he
not getting rid
said
of Butler, and he can't play small forward.
he said
So
he want to start. He said he feel like he earned it. So he said going into next year is going to be his fourth year. He think he should be a starter, and I think he should too. I don't know
well,
about on Miami.
I was gonna say he's gonna be a starter like, on Houston.
He might be starting on Utah Because
Utah,
supposedly,
yeah, Donovan Mitchell or something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't be
see that
surprised.
too. I see that too.
but hey guys, any last words, Kareem?
I'm just looking forward to the draft. Hopefully, my Knicks trade up. We need Jaden Ivey. Make it happen, Leon. Please do us right this time.
Last words, Theo?
Rest in peace to Marion Barber, former Cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died in, I guess, found dead in his, I guess, his hotel room or his apartment complex. Reason unknown, but I think it's CTE. They were saying his family just signed off on his brain being examined for CTE, which is common with a lot of players who retire from NFL or those hits.
Yep.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, I would say let's go Yankees, best team in the American League, the best
Yep.
team in the American League for
Yeah.
sure. Let's go Mets, second best team in the National League, you know what I'm saying? Two of the top five teams in baseball.
Yep.
And
New York.
let's go Rangers, man. Listen, I'm
Oh
not a
yeah.
hockey head, so I'm not a
Yep.
hockey head though, but
Yep.
Rangers looking real good. They're young too, they're a very young team. They're looking real good. You lost today though. You should be out 3-0.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah.
away though. But that being said though, still in a row. Right now, New York sports doing good for hockey and baseball is concerned. So that's what's up.
Yep. I just got one thing with him. Congratulations to Devin Haney. Winning that fight last night or something. I mean,
Yeah. I turned the channel. I turned the channel, man. He was just destroying that kid.
yeah, he was dominating.
Yeah, I turned the channel, man.
Yeah, he definitely dominated.
Yeah, but congrats to him for sure. Undisputed champion.
Yep. Hey guys, it's great talking to you, man. Look
Always,
forward
always.
to it, man.
Yeah.
Till next time. Later, man.
Yo, Dad,
Later.
enjoy, fellas.
Later.